In the heart of northern Botswana, where the land stretches endlessly beneath a sky painted with the first blush of dawn, lies Mombo, a realm as beautiful as it is brutal. This is not a place of gentle harmony, but a savage kingdom, where every blade of grass and every shadow hides a story of ambition, rivalry, and survival. Here, the law is written in tooth and claw, and every sunrise signals a new battle for dominance. Across the rivers and plains, dynasties of predators reign supreme. Each family, each coalition, carves out its territory with relentless determination, led by rulers whose power is measured in scars and victories. The ground is a tapestry of tracks, evidence of shifting alliances and bitter rivalries. The strong rise, the weak are cast down, and the echoes of triumph and defeat ripple across the Savannah. In this grand theatre, four formidable forces dominate: the lions, regal and powerful; the leopard, silent and deadly; the hyenas, cunning and relentless; and the wild dogs, swift and united. Each has honed its own strategies for hunting, for war, and for survival. The lions, with their thunderous roars and raw strength, command the open plains. Yet their power is fragile, threatened by internal strife and the ever-present challenge of rivals. The leopards, masters of stealth, slip through the shadows, ghosts among the trees, striking with lethal precision before vanishing into the dusk. Hyenas, bound by a strict hierarchy, move as a disciplined army. Their laughter is the soundtrack of the night, their numbers overwhelming all but the bravest. Wild dogs, the rising power, hunt with unmatched coordination, their unity turning them into a force that even the mightiest must respect. But the balance of power is never still. As the sun rises on this first day of December, a quiet revolution stirs. The old rulers, worn by age and battle, find their grip on power slipping. Sickness and betrayal gnaw at the edges of their empires, leaving cracks for the ambitious to exploit. In the shadows, young challengers watch with hungry eyes, waiting for the moment when weakness becomes opportunity. The air is thick with tension, every movement a potential spark for conflict. The kingdom teeters on the edge of upheaval. Storm clouds gather, both in the sky and in the hearts of those who would rule. Every alliance is fragile, every rivalry a tinderbox. The stories unfolding here are more than mere tales of survival. They are epics of ambition, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of dominance. Each day brings new challenges, each night new dangers. The fate of the savage kingdom hangs in the balance. The old order is crumbling, and a new era is about to begin, one shaped by the cunning, the ruthless, and the resilient. As the sun rises and sets over these wild plains, the drama of life and death plays out in endless cycles. Each sunrise is a promise of new struggles, each sunset a testament to those who survived another day. For the prey, every day is a test of vigilance and speed. Herds move in tight formation, eyes scanning the horizon for the faintest sign of danger. A single misstep can mean the difference between life and death. The hunted have their own strategies: speed, camouflage, and the safety of numbers. The chase is a daily ritual, a dance of desperation and hope. Even the rivers are battlegrounds, where crocodiles wait in ambush and hippos defend their watery domains with ferocious power. Every creature, predator or prey, is both hunter and hunted in this intricate web of life. As night falls, the kingdom transforms. The air grows thick with anticipation as nocturnal hunters emerge, and the cycle of struggle begins anew beneath the stars. In the darkness, the true nature of the savage kingdom is revealed. A world where only the most adaptable, the most cunning, and the most determined will survive. The stage is set, the actors are in place, and the great drama of the wild is about to begin. In Mombo, every day is a new chapter in the unending saga of power, survival, and the eternal struggle for supremacy. In the heart of the wild, beneath the endless sky, the Leopard dynasty faces a silent, creeping crisis. The air is thick with tension, as if the land itself senses the shifting balance of power. Its sovereign, the aging Queen Pula, moves through her territory as a mere shadow of the legend she once was. Her muscles, once taut and powerful, now tremble with every step. Her golden coat, marked by the scars of countless battles, hangs loosely on her thinning frame. The fire in her eyes has dimmed, replaced by the weary wisdom of survival. Yet Pula's heart beats with fierce devotion for her 10-month-old daughter, Motshidi. The young princess, innocent and untested, clings to her mother's side, unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon. She is the last hope of a fading bloodline, a fragile spark in the darkness. Every hunt is now a battle against time and weakness. Pula's once flawless technique falters. Her leaps fall short. Her claws miss their mark. The prey sense her vulnerability, slipping away into the undergrowth, leaving her with nothing but the ache of hunger and the weight of responsibility. On rare occasions, fortune grants her a meager prize, a small mongoose, barely enough to sustain a growing cub. Yet Pula does not hesitate. Every morsel is given to Motshidi, her own hunger pushed aside, her body growing weaker with each selfless act. Hunger gnaws at her relentlessly, a constant reminder that her reign is slipping away. The queen's sacrifice is etched into her bones, her every movement slower, her senses dulled by exhaustion. Pula knows the laws of the savage kingdom are merciless. Weakness is a scent that travels on the wind, drawing the eyes of rivals and predators alike. Her frailty is not just her own burden. It is a beacon that endangers her daughter, threatening to draw the attention of those who would seize her territory and destroy her legacy. The queen faces an impossible choice. To remain by Motshidi's side is to invite starvation for them both. The land offers no mercy, and the hierarchy of the wild is unyielding. Only the strong or the cunning survive. In a moment heavy with unspoken love, Pula nuzzles her daughter, imprinting her scent and her memory. The bond between mother and cub is unbreakable, yet the world demands it be severed for the sake of survival. With a heart torn by instinct and necessity, Pula turns away. Each step away from Motshidi is a silent scream, a defiance of every instinct to protect. But in this kingdom, true protection sometimes means letting go. Motshidi is left alone, her small form dwarfed by the tall grass, her future uncertain. The queen's sacrifice is a cruel mercy, a desperate gamble that her daughter might find the strength to survive where she cannot. Pula's final journey is a solitary one. The landscape she once ruled now stretches before her as a vast, indifferent expanse. Each movement is a struggle, her senses dulled by the relentless ache of hunger and fatigue. The kingdom, vibrant and teeming with life, now feels alien and hostile. The queen, once a silent shadow among the grass, is now a vulnerable figure, exposed to the dangers that prowl the land. In her weakened state, Pula encounters a new force rising in the hierarchy, the wild dogs. Their presence is a harbinger of change, a reminder that the balance of power is always shifting. The wild dogs move as one, a blur of muscle and intent. To them, Pula is no longer a queen, but prey, an opportunity to assert their own dominance in the ever-changing order of the wild. The confrontation is swift and merciless. Pula's strength fails her, and the wild dogs claim their victory. The queen's reign ends not with a roar, but with a silent surrender to the relentless cycle of predator and prey. The savannah is left with only echoes of her presence. The territory she once ruled falls silent, her legacy marked by the emptiness where she once lay. Pula was more than a hunter. She was a silent force, a solitary ruler who shaped the land through patience and cunning. Her absence leaves a void, a ripple that will be felt by every creature that shares her former domain. Her final act was not one of conquest, but of profound sacrifice. By relinquishing her own life and leaving her daughter behind, she offered Motshidi the only gift she had left, a fragile chance at survival, a hope that the bloodline might endure. The throne of the Leopard Queen now stands empty, a silent testament to the cost of power. Mochidi, the orphaned heir, faces a world that is both beautiful and merciless, where every shadow hides a threat and every dawn brings a new test. Pula's sacrifice sends ripples through the animal hierarchy. Rivals sense opportunity, scavengers move in, and the delicate balance of the kingdom shifts. Yet, as the sun rises over the savannah, a new story begins, one of resilience, of hope, and of the enduring spirit of the wild. In the heart of the African wilderness, Mochidi, a young leopard, is thrust into a world of uncertainty. Orphaned and alone, she must navigate a landscape teeming with danger and opportunity, where every shadow hides a threat and every day is a test of survival. At just 1 year old, Mochidi is a princess without a kingdom. She has never made a kill, never defended a territory, and now, without her mother's guidance, she faces the wild's harshest lessons alone. Hunger gnaws at her belly, driving her to attempt hunts she is not yet skilled enough to complete. Each failed stalk, each missed opportunity, is a reminder of her inexperience. The savannah is unforgiving, and the weak do not last long. The skills her mother tried to teach her, how to stalk, how to pounce, how to hide, must now be mastered through painful trial and error. In this world, a single mistake can mean death, and Mochidi learns quickly that hesitation is costly. The scents of other predators, lions, hyenas, even rival leopards, haunt her every step. To them, she is not a future queen, but an easy meal or a competitor to be eliminated. The social order of the wild is strict, and Mochidi is at the very bottom. Her first weeks alone are a desperate struggle. She scavenges what she can, hiding from hyena clans and baboon troops, always alert, always anxious. The baboons, with their sharp eyes and fierce mothers, are as dangerous as any predator, and Mochidi learns to avoid their foraging parties. The hyenas, ever opportunistic, patrol the grasslands in packs, their laughter echoing through the night. Mochidi must be invisible, slipping through shadows, climbing trees to escape their relentless pursuit. Even the lions, rulers of the savannah, pose a constant threat. A careless step could bring her face to face with a lioness and her cubs, and Mochidi knows she must never let her guard down. Yet the wild is not only a place of danger, but also of unexpected alliances and shifting dynamics. One day, a familiar scent drifts on the wind, a ghost from her past. Her father, Blue Eyes, a formidable male leopard, appears. Known for his strength and his cannibalistic tendencies, he is both a threat and a potential ally. Mochidi braces for a confrontation she cannot win, but in a rare act of paternal instinct, Blue Eyes leaves her the remains of his baboon kill. This gesture is not a promise of protection, but a temporary reprieve, a vital gift of time. The meal gives Mochidi the strength to continue. She moves with renewed vigor, her senses sharper, her resolve hardening. The encounter with her father awakens something within her, the realization that she must claim her own power if she is to survive. The time for scavenging is over. Mochidi begins to assert herself, scent-marking the edges of her mother's old territory, testing the boundaries, learning the intricate language of the wild social order. Her first real test comes in the form of a porcupine, a creature so well defended that even experienced predators hesitate to attack. The locals call it the dragon, for its fortress of quills. For Mochidi, this is more than a meal. It is a rite of passage, a challenge that will define her place in the wild. She circles the porcupine, studying its defenses, her every muscle tensed with anticipation. The hunt is brutal. Quills pierce her skin, pain flares in her muzzle, but desperation and instinct drive her forward. The battle is bloody, but Mochidi's determination does not waver. At last she succeeds. Her first kill is hard won, and as she stands over the fallen porcupine, blood on her jaws, she is transformed. No longer a frightened orphan, Mochidi is now a hunter, a queen in her own right. With her confidence growing, Mochidi returns to her mother's territory. She must now defend it from rivals, other young leopards, hyenas, and even the ever-watchful vultures that circle above, waiting for weakness. The social dynamics of the wild are complex. Mochidi learns to read the signs left by others, scent marks, clawed trees, the distant calls of competitors. She avoids unnecessary fights but stands her ground when challenged, earning respect through resilience and cunning. Over time, Mochidi's presence becomes known. She is no longer seen as easy prey. Even the baboons and hyenas begin to give her a wider berth, recognizing the confidence in her stride and the strength in her gaze. Her journey from abandonment to leadership is complete. Mochidi has survived hunger, outwitted her enemies, and forged her own destiny. She stands atop a rock at sunset, regal and unbowed, the new queen of her mother's realm. The leopard dynasty has a new ruler. Mochidi, once an orphan, now reigns supreme, a queen whose power is forged in hardship, alliances, and the ever-shifting social order of the wild. Her story is one of resilience, courage, and the unbreakable will to survive. While the leopard throne was in transition, the hyena clan stood as a formidable force, united, disciplined, and feared by all who roamed the savannah. At the helm was Commander Momotse, a matriarch whose iron will and ruthless tactics kept her clan in line. Her word was law, and her gaze alone could quell dissent, but beneath her absolute authority, cracks began to form. Momotse's rule was tainted by selfishness, her hunger for power matched only by her appetite for the choicest spoils. At her side prowled Princess Lasidi, her only daughter. Spoiled by privilege, Lasidi strutted through the ranks, her arrogance unchecked. Lasidi believed her royal blood gave her the right to dominate, and she wielded her status like a weapon, bullying, stealing, and sowing discord. She snatched food from her own kin, turning every meal into a battleground. Her antics bred resentment, and whispers of discontent began to ripple through the ranks. The once disciplined army grew restless. Eyes narrowed, tempers flared, and alliances began to shift in the shadows. Lasedi's entitlement was a constant source of friction, her every action a spark threatening to ignite the dry grass of rebellion. She embodied the worst of Momotse's rule, greed, arrogance, and a disregard for the clan's well-being. As the princess grew fat and lazy on the hard work of others, the hunters and sentinels watched with growing bitterness. Momotse, blinded by pride, indulged her daughter's every whim, dismissing the unrest as mere jealousy. But the matriarch's ignorance was a fatal flaw. The seeds of rebellion had been sown, and now they began to sprout. The situation escalated when Lasedi stumbled upon her mother's secret hoard, a cache of meat hidden deep within the den, reserved for the matriarch alone. Momotse, who demanded sacrifice and loyalty, was revealed as a hypocrite, hoarding the best of every kill while her clan went hungry. The revelation sent shockwaves through the clan, trust shattered, and the first open confrontations erupted. Factions formed in secret. Some plotted in the shadows, whispering of a new order. Others, loyal to the old regime, watched warily as discipline unraveled. The strict hierarchy that had made the clan so powerful began to crumble. Skirmishes broke out over scraps, and old alliances dissolved in the heat of suspicion. The air was thick with anticipation. Every glance, every growl was a test of loyalty, a silent question of who would stand with the old guard and who would risk everything for change. The spark came during a feeding frenzy. The clan, hungry and desperate, descended on a fresh kill. Lasedi, as always, tried to snatch the choicest piece from a lower-ranking hyena. But this time, the subordinate fought back, snarling, refusing to yield. It was a small act of defiance, but it was the signal the others had been waiting for. In an instant, the pent-up frustration of the clan erupted. Allies turned on each other, and the feeding ground became a battlefield. The hyenas turned on the princess, the living symbol of their oppression. Betrayals unfolded, as former friends joined the fray, each vying for a new place in the shifting order. The carefully constructed hierarchy shattered, the old rules no longer applied and chaos reigned. The clan, once united under Mamamotse's command, surged as a single, furious mob. The matriarch and her daughter, now isolated, faced the wrath of those they had wronged. In the aftermath, new leaders emerged from the turmoil, cunning, resilient, and determined to forge a new order. Alliances were tested, betrayals remembered, and the future of the clan hung in the balance. As dawn broke over the Savannah, the Hyena clan licked their wounds and surveyed the new landscape of power. The seeds of rebellion had blossomed, and nothing would ever be the same. In the heart of the savage kingdom, power is a double-edged sword, wielded with ferocity, but always at risk of being turned against its master. The mutiny that shattered the Hyena clan was not born overnight. It simmered beneath the surface, fueled by resentment, fear, and the relentless hunger for dominance. Once, the clan moved as a single disciplined force, an army forged by the iron will of their matriarch, Mamotse. But beneath the surface, cracks had begun to form. The younger hyenas, restless and ambitious, chafed under her ruthless rule. Allies whispered in the shadows, questioning her decisions, her greed, and her unyielding grip on power. The breaking point came with Princess Lesedi, Mamotse's own daughter, and the living symbol of the royal family's excess. The clan's patience snapped. The air was thick with tension, as the hyenas, once loyal, turned their fury on the princess. Lesedi was cornered, her cries echoing across the savannah. The rebellion was swift, brutal, and absolute. There was no room for mercy in this uprising. The very soldiers who had once guarded her flank now became her executioners. Their loyalty had been eroded by years of harsh rule and broken promises. The revolt reached its horrifying climax when the clan delivered Lesedi's severed head to her mother, Mamotse, a gruesome trophy and a message that could not be misunderstood. This was not just an act of violence, it was a declaration. The clan would no longer tolerate tyranny, no matter how fearsome the ruler. In that moment, the commander's authority shattered. Mamotse's reign of terror ended not with a battle, but with a collective turning of backs. Her power, once absolute, evaporated in the face of united defiance. The matriarch, confronted with the lifeless eyes of her daughter and the cold stares of her former subjects, was left broken, her spirit crushed by the weight of her own downfall. The clan she had built, ruled, and terrorized had turned against her in the most brutal way imaginable. There was no forgiveness, no plea for mercy. The hyenas who once cowered before her now met her gaze with open contempt. The social order had been upended. There was no negotiation, no trial, only the cold, silent verdict of exile. Her sentence was exile, a fate worse than death for a creature defined by the strength of her clan. The commander who had once controlled the heart of the savage kingdom was now cast out by her own kin. Stripped of her power, her status, and her home, Mamotse wandered the barren outskirts of her former empire. The den that once echoed with her commands now stood empty, a silent monument to her lost dynasty. Her legacy, which had seemed unbreakable, crumbled in a single, violent uprising. Yet even in disgrace, she was not entirely alone. Her youngest pups, too innocent to grasp the politics of betrayal, trailed after their mother, clinging to the only family they had left. The wilderness was unforgiving. Every day became a struggle for survival, a test of resilience for the fallen queen and her vulnerable brood. No longer a commander, Mamotse became a fugitive, her senses sharpened by fear, her every step shadowed by danger. The kingdom she once ruled had become a gauntlet of threats. Rivals circled, eager to claim what she had lost. Every predator, every shifting border was a reminder of her vulnerability. The balance of power had shifted, and the former queen was now prey. The hunter had become the hunted. Mamotse, once a queen, now survived on the margins, her crown lost, her future uncertain. The shock of her fall rippled through the animal community. The Hyena clan, long feared as a unified force, fractured into squabbling factions. Old alliances dissolved and new rivalries emerged. Without a strong leader, the clan was exposed, vulnerable to attack, uncertain of its future. Sensing weakness, rival predators pressed in, eager to seize territory and resources. The power vacuum left by Momomot's exile threatened the very survival of the clan. The balance of power across the savannah shifted. New alliances formed, old enemies grew bold, and the fate of the Hyena clan hung in the balance. Momot's story became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that in the savage kingdom power is never permanent. Authority is fragile, easily shattered by betrayal from within. Even the mightiest can fall, undone by those they once ruled. As the sun set on her reign, Momotse vanished into the wilderness, her exile marking the end of a bloody chapter and the uncertain dawn of a new era for the Hyena clan and all who share the savage kingdom. While the hyenas were consumed by their internal revolution, the savannah's balance trembled. The lion prides, ancient sovereigns of these grasslands, faced their own crucible. The Western pride, once a force of legend, now wandered in exile, its unity shattered, its spirit dimmed. Momot's relentless hyena army had pressed them to the brink, testing the very limits of their endurance. Their king, Ramagata, a lion of formidable strength, had vanished, leaving a void at the heart of the pride. In his absence, the lionesses, mothers, sisters, daughters, became the pride's shield and sword, defending their cubs against every threat. The savannah whispered of Ramagata's return, a hope that flickered in the eyes of every lioness. His reappearance promised restoration, a chance to reclaim lost territory and dignity. But when Ramagata finally emerged from the shadows, he was not alone. At his side strode another pride, the Matahta, their presence a thunderclap across the plains. The Matahta were led by Sega, a queen, whose legend was written in tooth and claw. Sega, the indomitable matriarch, had forged her pride from hardship and loss, rising as a beacon of resilience. Her reign was not inherited but earned, her authority absolute, her resolve unbreakable. Sega's eyes, sharp as obsidian, missed nothing. She was a survivor, a warrior, a ruler who brooked no rivals. Ramagata, for all his strength, was revealed as a schemer, his ambitions as vast as the savannah itself. He sought to unite both prides under his rule, dreaming of a super-pride that would dominate the land. But Sega was no one's subordinate. Her pride was her kingdom, her daughters its future. She accepted Ramagata's presence only for the protection he offered, never for his claim to power. Her loyalty was to her cubs, her sisters, and the land that sustained them. She would not bow to Ramagata's will, nor let his ambitions threaten her legacy. Sega stood as a queen in every sense, regal, commanding, and fiercely protective. Her leadership was a force of nature, binding her pride with loyalty and purpose. She watched Ramagata with wary eyes, measuring his every move, never letting her guard drop. To Sega he was not a king, but a temporary, unreliable ally. She studied him, reading the shifting winds of his divided loyalties. His indecision was a flaw, a crack in the armor of his authority. Sega knew that true power was born from unity, not from schemes or divided hearts. Deceit and ambition were the tools of the weak, not the strong. She tolerated the tailless king and his brothers, but only as long as it suited her purpose. Patient as the grass, Sega waited, her resolve unwavering. She was poised to seize her moment, to assert her absolute dominion over the Matahta. The tension between queen and king simmered, a silent war beneath the golden sun. Sega refused to let Ramagata blend the prides, keeping her warriors loyal and apart. Her Matahta lionesses followed her with unwavering devotion, their unity unbreakable. Sega saw through Ramagata's ambition, recognizing it as a threat to her daughters and her legacy. The Matahta pride stood as one, a living testament to Sega's leadership. Their allegiance was not to a king, but to their queen, unyielding, resolute, and wise. Sega prepared for the inevitable clash, her spirit unbroken, her will as fierce as the midday sun. She would not let a second-hand king dictate the fate of her pride. The Savannah itself seemed to hold its breath. In the wild, only one ruler could emerge victorious, and the Lion Queen's reign was far from over. Queen Sega understood that the future of her pride would be shaped by strength, unity, and the wisdom to adapt. As the sun rose over the savannah, she watched over her family, determined to secure their legacy. She poured her energy into training her eldest daughter, molding the young princess into a fierce huntress and a leader in her own right. Under Sega's vigilant gaze, the young lioness mastered the art of the hunt, learning to move with silent precision and to strike with confidence. Each lesson brought her closer to the strength of her ancestors. The ultimate test came when the young lioness brought down a warthog, feeding the pride and proving her worth as a future matriarch. This victory was more than a meal. It was a testament to the pride's resilience and Sega's unwavering leadership. With her daughter's success, Sega felt the future of her dynasty was secure, but the winds of change were stirring across the plains. As the Hyena clans fell into chaos, Sega saw her moment to resolve the question of leadership within her own ranks. She recognized that Ramogata, with his divided loyalties, could no longer be trusted to protect the pride. The Matahta pride, united under Sega's command, confronted Ramogata and his brothers. The standoff was fierce, but the outcome was never in doubt. Ramogata's dreams of dominance crumbled as he was driven from the pride, his reign ending in exile. Sega's resolve was clear. Only those who pledged absolute loyalty to her and her lineage would remain. She had proven that a queen's power could be unchallenged, her will the law of the land. Now, with the pride unified and strong, Sega knew that a new king was needed, not as a rival, but as a guardian. The pride required a powerful male to defend their territory and protect the next generation from lurking threats. But Sega would not accept just any suitor. She watched, waited, and measured each contender from afar. Only a king who would serve as a vigilant protector, not a challenger, would be welcomed into the Matahta family. Far beyond the pride's borders, a young, formidable male lion began his journey. Cast out from his birth pride, he wandered the wild, facing hunger, rival males, and the relentless dangers of the open plains. He survived by his wits and strength, growing into a powerful force, his golden mane a symbol of his resilience and independence. When he finally reached the Matahta territory, he approached with humility, signaling his willingness to serve rather than rule. Sega watched him closely, testing his resolve and his respect for her authority. The new male proved himself, defending the pride's borders and showing unwavering loyalty to the queen and her cubs. This was not a partnership of equals, but a strategic alliance. The queen led and the king guarded. With the new king patrolling the borders and the young huntress leading the charge, the Matahta pride was transformed, stronger, wiser, and ready for any challenge. Sega had weathered storms of betrayal and driven out those who threatened her family. Now she stood at the helm of a new dynasty, her pride reborn. The Matahta pride, under Sega's undisputed rule, surged forward, ready to claim the lands left vulnerable by the fall of their rivals. From the trials of exile and the fires of conflict, a new king had risen. The Matahta pride, united and transformed, now stood as a beacon of strength and hope on the wild savannah. As the mighty lions and cunning hyenas clashed in endless battles for dominance, a new force was quietly gathering strength on the outskirts of the savage kingdom. While the great dynasties tore each other apart, the wild dogs, once overlooked, often dismissed as mere scavengers, were orchestrating a revolution of their own. The Makulu pack, led by the brilliant and disciplined Kitso, was thriving in the shadows. Kitso understood that survival in this unforgiving land demanded more than brute strength. It required unity, strategy, and flawless coordination. With 8 new pups, the pack was expanding rapidly. Every member, from the youngest pup to the seasoned hunter, had a role to play. Kitso's leadership was not built on fear, but on discipline, intelligence, and a deep sense of loyalty. Each hunt was a masterclass in teamwork. The pack moved as one, silent, swift, and perfectly synchronized. Some flanked, others drove prey forward, while the youngest learned by watching and imitating the adults. Kitso's commands were subtle, barely a flick of the tail, a soft yip, a glance. Yet the pack responded instantly, their lives depending on this unspoken language. He was building more than a pack. He was forging an army. Kitso was patient, calculating, always watching the movements of rivals and the shifting tides of power. Training was relentless. The pups were drilled in the art of the hunt, learning to anticipate, to outmaneuver, to strike with precision. Kitso led mock chases against hyenas, probing their defenses, searching for weaknesses. The pack became a single entity, dozens of eyes, one mind. Their unity was their greatest weapon, allowing them to take down prey much larger than themselves and to challenge even the most formidable rivals. As their numbers swelled to 25, the Makulu pack became a force to be reckoned with. They hunted with unmatched efficiency, and their boldness grew with every victory. While lions and hyenas were distracted by their own feuds, Kitso prepared his pack for the moment he knew would come, a chance to seize power. That moment arrived during the hyena clan's internal chaos. In a daring move, Kitso's pack cornered the arrogant hyena princess Lasidi, outmaneuvering her with speed and precision. Though they did not kill her, the chase and capture sent shockwaves through the kingdom. The wild dogs had announced themselves as a new power. Their triumph was a declaration. The era of the wild dogs had begun. No longer mere scavengers, they had proven their superiority in strategy, teamwork, and courage. Their confidence soared. Kitso's reputation as a masterful leader was cemented, and the pack's unity only deepened. When Commander Mamamotse fell and the hyena army collapsed, a power vacuum opened in the heart of the kingdom. Kitso had been waiting for this. He led his disciplined, unified pack out of the shadows and into the prime territory the hyenas had abandoned. There was no resistance. The other predators were too busy rebuilding or fighting their own wars to challenge the wild dogs' advance. The Makulu pack claimed the open savannah, moving with confidence and purpose. They were no longer outsiders, they were the new stewards of the land. Their rise was unstoppable, a testament to the power of unity, discipline, and intelligent leadership. In the savage kingdom, the wild dogs had finally claimed their place at the top. The wild dogs, united and unchallenged, stood as a living symbol of what could be achieved through cooperation and cunning, true rulers of the wild. As the first rays of dawn pierce the horizon, the dust begins to settle across the vast plains of Mombo. The air is thick with the scent of renewal, and the golden light reveals a kingdom forever changed. The old order, once etched into the very soil by fire, betrayal, and bloodshed, has been swept away. In its place, a new era rises, one forged in the crucible of survival, where every creature's fate is bound to the choices of others. The mighty dynasties that once ruled with iron claws and cunning have fallen. The hyenas, whose laughter once echoed in every corner, now scatter in defeat, their reign broken, and their leader, Mamotse, exiled to the shadows. In the void left behind, new powers surge forward. Territories once marked by fear and dominance now become battlegrounds for hope, resilience, and the promise of a different future. Motshidi, the orphaned leopard, emerges from solitude to claim her mother's throne. Alone, she has weathered storms and outwitted rivals, her spirit tempered by hardship. Now, she rules not with fear, but with the quiet strength of one who has survived against all odds. In the lion territories, Queen Saga stands tall. Her Matahta pride, once fractured by betrayal, is now united under her unwavering leadership. She has cast out the untrustworthy King Ramogata, forging a dynasty built on loyalty, courage, and the fierce love of a mother for her pride. The lions move with purpose, their unity a beacon of order in a world that once teetered on the brink of chaos. But the savannah's balance is not held by lions alone. The wild dogs, long underestimated, now rise as a force to be reckoned with. Led by the brilliant Kitso, the Makulu pack surges into the heartland, their every move a testament to the power of unity and strategy. Their strength lies not in brute force, but in the bonds that tie them together. Each member of the pack plays a vital role, their cooperation and intelligence allowing them to seize opportunities left in the wake of fallen empires. The stories of Pula's sacrifice, Mamamotse's downfall, and Saga's unyielding resolve echo through the land, woven into the fabric of a new legend. The destinies of leopard, lion, and wild dog are now intertwined, each shaping the fate of the other. The new rulers, Queen Motshidi, Queen Saga, and pack leader Kitso, stand at the dawn of their reigns. Their paths will cross in moments of alliance and conflict, their stories forever linked by the unending struggle for survival. In this wild and savage land, the eternal dance of life, death, and dominance continues. Yet, beneath the fierce competition, a fragile balance emerges, one that holds the promise of hope, renewal, and the enduring spirit of the savage kingdom. As the sun climbs higher, illuminating every corner of Mombo, a new day begins. The kingdom breathes as one, its future shaped by the courage, wisdom, and unity of its wildest inhabitants. As the blazing sun dips below the horizon and the golden plains fall under a cloak of darkness, a different kingdom awakens. In the silent hours when most eyes are closed, the true masters of the night begin their secret rituals, creatures whose power lies in their invisibility, whose existence is written in the language of shadows. Among the acacia thickets, a pair of honey badgers emerge, their movements silent and purposeful. With razor-sharp claws and unyielding tenacity, they scavenge and hunt beneath the watchful gaze of the stars. Their senses are finely tuned for darkness, ears pricking at the faintest rustle, noses twitching to the scent of unsuspecting prey. Alone, they are formidable. Together, unstoppable. Deep in the undergrowth, the serval stalks. Long legs and oversized ears give her an advantage few can rival. She listens for the subtle heartbeats of rodents tunneling beneath the grass, then, with a lightning-fast leap, strikes. Each hunt is a delicate balance of patience and precision, a dance with the night where silence is the greatest ally. Not far away, a clan of aardwolves navigates the open plains. Unlike their fearsome hyena cousins, they feast on termites, lapping up thousands in a single night. Their social bonds are quiet but strong. Pairs travel together, marking their territory with scent, communicating through soft chirps and gentle nuzzles. In the darkness, their world is one of subtlety and survival, far removed from the violence of the day. High above, an eagle owl glides on silent wings. Its eyes pierce the inky black, scanning for the slightest movement. When it dives, the world holds its breath, prey snatched in a heartbeat, the owl vanishing into night as quickly as it appeared. Even the leopards, rulers of both day and night, change their tactics when darkness falls. Mochidi, the orphan queen, becomes a phantom, her spotted coat melting into the shadows. She climbs with effortless grace, dragging her prize high into the trees, where it will be safe from scavengers. Solitary by nature, she is a master of stealth, relying on cunning rather than brute force. In the Nocturnal kingdom, every creature has adapted to survive. Some use teamwork, others rely on silence. Some wield venom, others trust in armor or camouflage. Their lives are a constant test of ingenuity and resilience. Here, in the hours when the world seems still, the savage kingdom is anything but. It is alive with secret hunts, whispered alliances, and the quiet triumphs of those who thrive in darkness. While the sunlit world belongs to the powerful and the proud, the night is ruled by the unseen, the patient, the clever, and the brave. With the first hint of dawn, these nocturnal hunters retreat to their hidden dens and shadowy lairs, their stories woven into the fabric of the kingdom, unseen but essential. As day breaks, the cycle begins anew, and the secrets of the night slip once more into silence, waiting for darkness to return. In the ever-turning wheel of the savage kingdom, survival is rarely earned alone. As the sun climbs and the night's hunters fade, a new cast of characters steps onto the stage. Scavengers, the Opportunists, whose fates are woven together in a complex web of rivalry and uneasy alliance. At the heart of this web, the spotted hyena reigns supreme. With bone-crushing jaws and a mind as sharp as their teeth, hyenas are both feared and respected. When a lion pride abandons a carcass, hyenas descend in force, their cackling calls echoing across the plains. But even these formidable scavengers must share the spoils. Black-backed jackals linger at the periphery, darting in with nimble speed to snatch morsels before the hyenas close ranks. Their survival depends on timing, a split second too slow, and they risk the wrath of their larger cousins. Above, a committee of vultures spirals ever lower, eyes trained on the feast below. Each species has its own place in the hierarchy. The lappet-faced vulture, largest and boldest, tears through the tough hide, opening the way for smaller white-backed and hooded vultures to pick at the softer remains. Their cooperation is a silent pact, each bird knowing its role, each feeding in turn. Yet the peace is fragile. One wrong move, and a flurry of wings erupts into chaos as they jostle for access to the prize. Nearby, a band of mongoose waits for their moment, their bright eyes scanning for discarded scraps. Quick-witted and adaptable, they dart between squabbling giants, making off with whatever they can carry. Not far off, a marabou stork, the undertaker of the wild, stands patient and unblinking, ready to claim what others overlook. These scavengers are not mere thieves, they are strategists, reading the shifting moods of the feast, forging fleeting alliances when it serves them, and turning rivals at a moment's notice. Sometimes jackals and vultures will call out, alerting each other to a fresh kill, knowing that together they can overwhelm even the most possessive hyena. At other times, a single glance, a raised hackle, or a spread of wings is enough to ignite a skirmish. This ever-changing dance is a testament to their intelligence and adaptability. Each species has learned to read the landscape, to anticipate danger, to seize opportunity where others see only scraps. Through cunning and collaboration, competition and compromise, the scavengers play a vital role in the kingdom's cycle of life and death, ensuring that nothing is wasted. In the end, the scavengers' world is one of shifting alliances and silent agreements, of calculated risks and hard-won rewards. Their stories are written not in the blood of the hunt, but in the quiet triumph of survival against the odds. As the sun sets and the shadows grow long, the scavengers fade into the dusk, ever watchful, ever waiting, the invisible hands that keep the kingdom in balance. As the dry season tightens its grip, a primal rhythm pulses across the savannah. Herds of wildebeest, zebra and gazelle gather on the dusty plains, their numbers swelling into the tens of thousands, a living tide poised to move. This is the beginning of the Great Migration, a journey shaped by instinct, memory, and the promise of distant rains. At dawn, the leaders, often the most experienced matriarchs, lift their heads and set off, their movements deliberate and sure. The herd follows, trusting in the wisdom of those who remember where the grass will be greenest and where waterholes still linger beneath the baking sun. Alongside them, zebras form tight-knit family groups, their stripes a dazzling confusion that confounds predators. Gazelles, ever watchful, bound lightly at the edges, their ears attuned to every whisper of danger. The journey is perilous. Rivers swollen by far-off storms become deadly barriers. The banks churn with anticipation as crocodiles, ancient and patient, wait beneath the surface. The first to cross are often the bravest, or the most desperate. A single wildebeest plunges in, and the herd surges after, hooves thrashing, water foaming. Some make it battered but alive. Others vanish, claimed by jaws in the swirling current. Above, vultures wheel, already sensing the cost of survival. Predators shadow the march. Lionesses crouch in the grass, eyes fixed on the young and the weak. Hyenas trail the herd, waiting for exhaustion to claim its toll. The herd's strength lies in its unity, thousands moving as one, a living shield against the hungry shadows. Yet not all threats come with teeth. The heat is relentless, and calves struggle to keep pace. Dust clouds choke the air, masking the scent of unseen cliffs or hidden ravines. In these moments, the herd's bonds are tested. Mothers nudge their young, elders circle the stragglers, and the journey slows, the migration's heartbeat quickening with every setback. But the rewards are great. At last, the scent of rain drifts on the wind. The land ahead shimmers with promise. Lush grass, cool streams, a brief respite from the endless march. The herd surges forward, triumphant, their journey's hardships written in mud-caked hides and weary eyes. For as long as memory endures, the migration will continue. a ceaseless odyssey of hope, peril, and endurance. In the great crossing, every animal plays its part, their fates entwined in the eternal search for life-giving grass and water. And as the sun sets, the wandering herds rest, knowing that tomorrow the journey begins anew. Beneath the thunder of hooves and the roar of predators, another world thrives, one that is nearly invisible yet essential to the savage kingdom's heartbeat. Here, in the fractured earth and tangled grass, insect societies rise and fall, their stories written in miniature and played out in silence. At dawn, the savannah shimmers with the movement of millions. Termite mounds towering like ancient fortresses dot the landscape. Inside, a labyrinth of tunnels hums with purpose. Workers, blind yet tireless, tend to fungus gardens and repair the walls, while soldiers, armed with fierce jaws, patrol the corridors, ready to defend their queen at all costs. Deep within the heart of the mound, she reigns, her sole mission to birth the next generation. Her subjects never question, each one a vital cog in the living machine. Above ground, armies of ants march in perfect lines, their coordination rivaling the mightiest herds. Scouts fan out in search of food, leaving invisible trails that guide the colony to bounty or battle. When rival colonies meet, the ground becomes a battlefield, mandibles clash, and the victors claim the spoils. But ants are more than warriors. They are farmers, shepherding aphids and harvesting seeds, shaping the land in ways few ever see. Beetles, camouflaged as pebbles or leaves, scuttle through the undergrowth. Dung beetles, the unheralded recyclers, roll precious spheres across the plains, turning waste into nourishment for the soil. Their silent labor enriches the earth, making life possible for the grasses that feed the herds above. Even the most delicate creatures wield quiet power. Swarms of butterflies and bees weave through the wildflowers, pollinating plants and ensuring the next season's bloom. Their journeys, though fleeting, ripple outward, each flutter, each flight, a thread in the tapestry of survival. In this hidden empire, cooperation is survival. Every ant, termite, and beetle plays a role, their fates intertwined with the giants above. They aerate the soil, decompose the fallen, and build the very foundation upon which the savage kingdom stands. As the sun sets and the larger beasts settle for the night, the insect world stirs anew. Theirs is a realm of endless industry, quiet, relentless, and indispensable. In the grand theatre of the savannah, it is the smallest actors who ensure that life in all its wild forms endures. In the heart of the savage kingdom the rains fail. Days stretch into weeks and the sky remains a pitiless vault of burning blue. Rivers shrink into cracked veins across the earth. Waterholes that once teemed with life become muddy memories, their edges trampled by desperate feet. The air shimmers with heat, and every breath carries the taste of dust. As the grass withers and the land turns brittle, the hierarchy of the savannah begins to shift. The mighty herds, once rulers of the open plains, are the first to feel the bite of thirst. Elephants, matriarchs leading their families, march for miles in search of hidden springs. Calves stumble, their trunks reaching for water that isn't there. The old and the weak fall behind, claimed by the relentless sun. Predators, too, are tested. Lions, once assured of easy prey, now find the pickings lean. The pride's unity frays as hunger gnaws. Young males challenge the old order, vying for the scraps that remain. Hyenas grow bold, shadowing the lions by day, daring to steal what little meat there is under cover of night. The fragile peace between rival clans dissolves into violence, each encounter a gamble for survival. Yet in this crucible, adaptation emerges. Wildebeest and zebra, driven by instinct, undertake perilous migrations, following ancient trails etched in memory. They skirt the edges of dried riverbeds, risking ambush for a chance at water. Giraffes strip the last green leaves from the highest branches, stretching the limits of their reach. The smallest survivors, meerkats and mongooses, dig deeper, unearthing roots and moisture hidden below the surface. Even in the chaos, moments of resilience shine. Elephants use their tusks to break open parched earth, unearthing water for all who follow. Crocodiles, stranded in shrinking pools, bury themselves in mud, waiting for the promise of rain. The insect world, too, adapts. Ants tunnel deeper, termites seal their mounds, and beetles travel by night, escaping the day's merciless glare. Conflict is everywhere, but so is cooperation. Species once wary of each other gather side by side at the last remaining waterholes, an uneasy truce born of necessity. The strong protect the weak, and the bold become caretakers for the next generation. As the drought stretches on, the savannah is remade. Only the most resourceful endure. And finally, when hope seems lost, thunder rumbles on the horizon. The first fat drops of rain strike the dust, releasing the scent of life reborn. The survivors, shaped and scarred by fire, rise to greet the storm, ready to reclaim their kingdom. In the savage kingdom, every drought is a reckoning. In its aftermath, the old order is swept away, and the seeds of resilience take root, promising new beginnings for those who endure. Beneath the muddy banks of the shrunken river, where the shadows run deep and silence reigns, a new ruler emerges. He is Thabo, the Crocodile King, scarred, ancient, and wise in the ways of patience and cunning. While the surface world writhes in drought, Thabo waits, buried in cool mud, his yellow eyes ever watchful. As the waters recede, other crocodiles grow desperate, clashing over shrinking pools. But Thabo does not waste his strength. He studies the patterns of the herds, the comings and goings of thirsty animals, and the shifting alliances of predators at the water's edge. When wildebeest stumble to drink, he strikes with precision, never overreaching, always conserving his energy. His territory, once a winding stretch of river, is now reduced to a single deep pool, a fortress surrounded by cracked earth. Thabo defends it with ruthless efficiency. Younger rivals challenge him, drawn by the promise of water. They are met with silent ambushes, his jaws snapping shut in the murky depths, the challengers vanishing without a trace. Yet Thabo is not merely a brute. He forges uneasy truces with other survivors, letting thirsty jackals and timid antelope drink at the pool's edge, so long as they respect his invisible boundary. In return, he gains early warning of danger and an endless parade of potential prey. But power on the savannah is never absolute. As the drought drags on, the pool shrinks further. Food grows scarce. Younger crocodiles, driven by hunger and ambition, band together. Thabo, once unchallenged, now faces coordinated attacks, an uprising from within his own ranks. Night falls. The pool is a maelstrom of thrashing tails and snapping teeth. Thabo fights with the fury of a king unwilling to yield, but numbers and youth begin to overwhelm age and cunning. In a final gambit, he lures his rivals into deeper water, using the last of his strength to turn the tide. For a moment it seems he will prevail, until exhaustion betrays him. As dawn breaks over the battered pool, Thabo's reign ends. His survivors, bloodied but triumphant, scatter to stake their own claims. The riverbank is silent once more, save for the gentle lapping of water and the distant rumble of thunder. In the savage kingdom, every ruler's time is borrowed. The Crocodile King's legacy is written in scars and legend, proof that even in the harshest times, strategy and survival are the sharpest weapons of all.